Today I took one trade, one winner, and I didn't have much of a great plan, but it worked out anyways. So today during pre-market session there was news about negotiations starting with the Iran war, so there was a huge rally up here, and I honestly didn't know really what to do with it because it was opening above value area, the range, above H5, above R2. I mean, it blasted through all the levels. I don't even have a supply zone anymore. It's at all-time highs. Nothing up here, and it's opening above everything. So I had kind of a 15-minute demand here. Not the best because it didn't really seem like a proper demand zone, but it was kind of a consolidation area before the rally, so I had that. But other than that, there really wasn't. I didn't have any. I have only no ledges. The nearest one I had was down here. As you can see here, yeah, the nearest one I had was down here at the previous all-time high. So I wanted to long at this level if it came down here, but it was opening up so far above that. It was almost 100 points above that, that I didn't want to, well, I wouldn't want it to come back all the way down. So this was a potential long area, but ideally I wouldn't want it to come down. This demand was a potential long area, but I wasn't too sure about that level. And then H5 was another option, which was kind of near this demand zone, so that was okay, but I haven't seen much success with that level, so I was nervous about that one too. So I say I don't really have much levels to go off of. Best one is the ledge level. High value no ledge, but it's 100 points away. I had a fair value gap here, but I didn't really like that one. So I took it out. And then I'm not sure about the 15-minute demand. Yeah, best level I have is the high volume net ledge, which aligns with the value area high but on ATH. So yeah, I was kind of directionless going into market open, and I was kind of hanging out here for a little while. And then the selling starts coming in. So I thought about this initial bounce here, when it bounced off of H5 here, but I didn't really see anything great in terms of long confirmation, so I did not take anything. I mean, even the CVD was lining up with the price. It was increasing as price was increasing. No real divergences. Nothing really crazy. I thought this might have been a pullback, so I thought about longs here. But I didn't take it because it wasn't the best. I mean, there was a slight delta divergence, -17, but that's not that much of a heavy divergence, so didn't take that. And it's a good thing I didn't, because I would have gone stopped out. Yeah, after, 2 minutes or so? Because that would have been my potential entry, but yeah, sudden selling came in and broke the lows here. And that was that. Yeah, boom. And it breaks the lows. So now we're into 71.22. And 71.19 is my H5 level. I'm looking to see if it comes down to H5. Again, I'm not very confident in this, so it has to be great confirmations. So more selling comes in, and then what I see is kind of a B shape forming here, with a POC at the lows here, and then starts moving back up. And I do like that. Delta divergence starts forming here. Yeah, right there, -600, and positive candle here, and this starts going back up. 1 minute delta divergence also forms, so I like that. The CVD hidden divergence is formed also, because it didn't close under the lows here, but it did on delta, and then lots of buying imbalances come in. So I like that there's aggressive buyers there. I like that there's a delta divergence here. I like that there's a B-shape form in here, but it rallied up way too fast. There's also a 1 minute high volume hammer there, and then the most important one was this volume spike here with a 5 minute high volume hammer. So I actually really like this setup. There was another thing here where it broke the lows on price here, but RSI, it did not break the lows, slightly above the lows of here. So that was an RSI divergence also. So overall, great setup. I'm seeing great confirmations here at H5. So I'm looking for some sort of pullback now, somewhere in this area where the buying imbalances are, or this high delta is, or something like that. And don't really get that. And it seems like it's just going up, but they're selling that comes in. I see another delta divergence forming here, negative 200, but positive candle there. And then, so I take that as a signal to go long here. So instead of having a stop under here, I have my stop under here, and I enter right about now. But right as I pressed buy, price popped. So I was looking for an entry around 33 or 32, but it popped right as I entered. So now I got filled at 36, and my stop is at 29, so it's about 7 points. So very late entry, but I still went along with it because I thought it was a good setup. The delta divergence did form on the 20 range chart, so that was a good sign also. And throughout this whole move, all these sellers start coming in, but every time the sellers step in, the buyers absorb them, and then all the dips were getting bought. So another delta divergence forming here as it goes up. And then on the 20 range, more buyers come in. Yeah, there was a little dip here, but then again, delta divergence, buyers absorb, and then it moves up. Again, another dip, delta divergence, buyers absorb, and moves up. So 20 range chart here, delta divergence, and it finishes as a delta divergence there. There's also another delta divergence on 1 minute. So all these dips are getting bought, which is a good sign. So I stay in it. 2R, I mean, it's kind of a slow move up, but all these dips are getting bought. So this dip right here gets bought, dip, gets bought, dip, gets bought, and it kind of grinds its way above. I honestly don't have any targets to the upside because it's at all-time highs. So I just go for 3R. And it hits 2R, and then I move my stop to break even, and following my rules. But it comes within about 2 points here of my target, around 55, 3 points, and it starts consolidating. So starts off by rejecting, and I really don't like this because it's been kind of grinding up the whole time, and I just don't want it to flush down. And it's at all-time high, so I don't really know what it's going to be doing. So then it dips, but it gets bought up. A bunch of sellers come in here. A bunch of sellers, but it gets bought up here. So I'm thinking that's a pretty positive sign for me. But then it never really goes and breaks those 54s, 55s. Forms a P shape there, comes back down. Another dip gets bought up, which is also a positive sign. But I'm looking at this, and it's like every time it gets to 55s, a bunch of sellers come in, and it forms a CVD hidden divergence. But if it keeps doing that, I found that at some point the buyers give up here. But luckily they didn't, and they broke the highs here. I really thought about just exiting here because I didn't know if it was worth holding for 3 points. And if it was going to rally up after and break the highs, then 2 points wasn't worth it. It would rally up even higher, and I should put my target way further ahead instead of just at 58. So that was kind of what was going through my mind. I I was moving my target up, but then I'd be like, no, I have to still follow my plan. So I would move my target back down to 58, and then I would move it back up because I'm like, look, it's consolidating, it's absorbing the sellers. The breakout of this consolidation is going to be a big move. So it's going to be the next leg up. And so I was moving my target up to like 61 just to get some of that. So I'm moving up to 61 here, and then move it back to 58 because I should still stick with my plan here because I don't know what it's going to do. But in the end, I ended up taking it off at 58, and then right after I take it off at 58, it goes to 61, and then it rallies all the way up to 70s here. Yeah. So in hindsight, I think what I could have done, and maybe what I should do later in the future, is that if it consolidates like that right before it hits my target, what I could do is leave my target where it is so that I follow my original plan from my entry. But also, I could enter another contract here. So if I'm seeing long confirmations here, and I'm just debating between moving my target up even more because I feel like it's going to be the next leg of the move, or keeping my target the same, I could enter another one here, risking however much, as if I would just, that was my first entry, and then catching that next leg of the move on a new trade rather than just moving my target up and risking all my profits there. So I think that could be a valid way to go about these situations. But either way, these confirmations were really good. This level worked out, although I wasn't too comfortable with it, and thesis worked out. So not a bad trade.